Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I want to talk about Owo and Alusi, but I'm going to start with the story because I think the story will make sense. Now, I've seen people engage in some Owo activity like Okite. You can just check my previous video basically to understand how Okite could turn into a menace, the consequences of engaging in money manifesting charms and other activities that I made in that, other things I said in that video. So just check it out later. So, talking about Ogu, there is a particular reason why I'm very reserved when it comes to Ogu, and it comes to people engaging in Ogu or Ogu activities. I was with an Akajiofo on one certain time. We're just having a conversation after he came back from, attending to the business of the day for him. So I came there with a friend and we're just discussing. So he now said that somebody came into this shrine of an ancestral deity, not just a lineage deity, an ancestral deity, and how powerful that deity is. He said that somebody came into that shrine and took a cap that belongs to that deity. He also said that occasionally people come into this place and they steal things, or they will just pack sands and they use it for their charms. And other things that they use, they can just come and steal something, but they steal it mainly for the purpose of Ogu. So when he said it, my friend was like, ha, and you kept quiet. If it is me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do that. The man, he's an elderly man. He was reserved. He kept quiet. When my friend was done, raising heaven and hell, my friend now, the man now said, Akajiofo now said, if you're done, the deity will ask you, is he blind or is he deaf that he doesn't know that somebody came and stole from him? And I'm like, with the Christian imagination of how wicked and how deities work, the man shouldn't be saying something like this. Like immediately the guy tries to steal from the deity. The deity should have struck him dead. That was my mindset. There is no other thing you will tell me. That deity should have killed that person that came to steal from him. But it's a human thing. But we are looking at these deities from a human perspective. Hold on, I'm not done. So, as he was just saying, the deity will tell you that the deity would not do anything. He would just allow the person to do whatever he wants to do, knowing fully well that if you're holding somebody, you're holding yourself, which means that eventually the person that took that item will come and retribute for what he stole. The Akajiofo said that this is not the first time somebody is coming to the open, and he's telling him that he went for divination and they told him that his reincarnator stole something from that shrine, and he's here to basically pay forth what his Onyowa stole. And I was like, wow. So another story he was now saying, he said the same thing on like when another in another shrine, that they steal things from that shrine. So the Akajiofo there was really pissed because he said, how can somebody bring in an animal for sacrifice? And tomorrow and the next day when we come, we will no longer see the ebony, we will not see the goat, we will not see the animal. That it is somehow, and it's embarrassing. So the Akajiofo now went and brought in a configuration up and placed it in that shrine. Now he said that only for him to go and sleep, and the deity came to him in his dream and asked him, why is it that I'm in my house and I cannot rest? I was like, ah. He now asked the man, the Akajiofo, to go before the cock crows, go to that shrine and remove that orb from my house. I know that they are stealing things from my house, but it doesn't give you the right to bring something else and attach it to me. Remove it. Now, the man said before he woke up in the next morning, a dibia that performs Afalos very well called him and told him that the deity said he should go and remove that thing. Now, the man was not even aware that the guy put anything inside that Obialosi. But he called and asked him, oh yeah, go and remove that thing from my house. The man went the next day in the morning, used kola nut, and and prayed and said, "It's not that we are trying to go over you. And that one figure can see. We are just doing the one that we're doing as we are human beings. Please pardon." Then they now removed that interface. But they also told the deity that it's not about removing it, that they also want him to get the person that is stealing things from that obi. And just as they said, just barely 2 weeks after the whole thing, they caught the person that was basically doing the whole theft. Now, the reason why I said this story is that we all have an impression of what a deity is. When they ask somebody, "What do you think is an Alusi?" Like for instance, when I was going for a kind of a New Year festival for a deity Ado. So the driver was now trying to tell us that if you go to a deity and you make any pledge and you don't fulfill that pledge, the deity is going to kill you. And I asked the man, "Oga, have you gone to any shrine before?" The man looked at me, "Are you a woman? You should not be saying something like this." He looked at me and was like, "What do you know?" I said, "I don't know anything about. Have you gone to a shrine before? Then how do you know that if you make a pledge, the deity is going to kill you?" The man was dumbfounded because he had no answer to that question. But eventually, I just basically eased up on that conversation because it's going to basically stretch and stretch and stretch and stretch. So what I'm trying to say here is that we've been given a negative impression about what deities are. We've been given a very negative impression. Now, to many of us, deities are something you have to fear. It's something that needs to be removed. They are the source of your misfortune. They are the reason why you're not progressing. They are the this, they are the that, they are the this. Have you forgotten that most of those deities were instituted in order to perform a function for your ancestors, which by indirectly or directly, it happened to come into existence? For instance, if it's a family that is having issues with mortality, and they did not bring in a deity like Akwali, or maybe somebody from the lineage did not voluntarily offer him or herself to be used for the configuration of a deity, then what will happen to you and you in that family? They come into that family to basically fix a problem, the problem of fertility. They can come into a family to fix the problem of injustice. They can come into a family to solve the problem of unproductivity. These are the things that the deity can do or perform for you in your family. And this is also the same thing that we've been used to demonize them. Because at the inception of these deities, our ancestors, who were with good intention, made pledges that even after they are gone, their ancestors, their predecessors, are going to continue this practice. They're going to continue to acknowledge them. They're going to continue to perform rituals daily or basically monthly rituals. But because there is a breach via colonization, slavery, westernization, the missionary, and all those things, and all of a sudden 90% of Igbo land, we are now being turned away from these indigenous practices. Now that breach that have been caused, influenced by the Westerners, has made it that many people are seeing interface like this as demonic. The reasons why most of us are after the destruction and the desecration of these interfaces or this PowerPoint, which does not make sense because we cannot destroy those interfaces. Deities, all of them have roots. Now, unless you're able to uproot that root as a Christian reverend or a pastor or whatever power you think you have under a Christian banner, until you're able to remove that root, which is something you cannot see, there is nothing you can do to remove a deity. Now, at the end of the day, because there is a breach in contract, two of us, went into an agreement. We agreed and we said, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Because there is a breach, because as the moment of their ancestors putting these configurations of PowerPoint, they did it in an agreement. If you do this for me, we are going to do this for you. So the deity performs their own end of the bargain, and you and I, we don't perform our own end of the bargain. What do you think is going to happen? There is going to be a retaliation. This is why most deities are basically causing misfortune. They are influencing using negative energies to cause problems in a family. So this is what I want us to understand. Now, the main thing to understand about deities is that most of them were instituted because we need them to perform a certain function. Now, other than that, there are some primordial deities that existed alongside creation, like Awu, like Anyanwunezin, we have Ekwensu, all those entities or spirits that we do not necessarily know their origin, but we met them and we basically began to venerate them and they're performing functions for us. But aside that, even those deities that we instituted by our health, our ancestors, because we need them to perform a certain function, we also need to understand that they are doing what they are doing through the provision of them having an aspect of creation within them, which is the manifestation of the chi. Now, every deity in Igbo land has a particular chi, has their chi. Now, when we're interacting with that deity, we are also interacting with the chi of that deity. Now, we can look at the chi in this circumstance as the representation of the divine, the supreme divine force, Okike, that lives within us, within you, and within everything that is within creation. So when we're interacting with the chi, Alusi, we're interacting with the chi, and together they all form a zunage. They all form what we call Ohamuo or Oramuo. Now, this is the Igbo interpretation of all these things. Now, the Westerners demonize this by saying that these deities the Westerners don't even understand the concept of chi. So how would they now tell us that what we are doing is demonic? That a deity is a manifesting demon, whereas our interpretation is that these things have a godlike essence within them. And when we're interacting with them, we're interacting with nature, we're interacting with God. Except they're going to tell me that God is no longer within nature or nature is no longer God. Then I will now say, okay, no problem. Now what we are doing is demonic. But so far, we also share this same belief system that ordinary is a naturalist belief system. It believes in nature. Everything we do in ordinary is nature-based. My mentor would say that if the white man figures out how to harness inorganic energy like we do, then this is when Igbo land, this is when we've truly lost every single thing. Because when you look at the rites that we perform, it's nature-based. It's very natural in the sense that that's why we see most of them decay and basically gives like terrible odor. And people look at it as being dirty. No, it's because what we are extracting, because every system, if you look at science, let's look at the scientific interpretation of it. If they want to basically draw out an energy or basically dilute or bring out an essence, they have to pass through some fermentation process. So this is what we do. And the same thing, the ancestors will also tell you that Aja de or Selunemi. That means that when you perform a certain sacrifice or a certain ritual, we are not expecting it to manifest immediately, but we have to allow it to settle, to ferment. And when that ritual or sacrifice ferments, this is when we start seeing the effect or the positive result of that sacrifice. Now, whenever a person performs a sacrifice or aja or whatever that we perform, and within a specific period of time, that particular charm or that particular thing, not within a very close range, let me say I perform a sacrifice for a certain function, let me say within a period of 2 weeks or a period of 2 days, and I'm seeing results, it should be more than enough to scare me. Because when something happens that fast, you're going to lose it that fast equally. So these are just the basic interpretations of ordinary, basic interpretations of what we do as a people. So I would want us to understand these things more by reading and engaging with other people or the deviants or people that are in this particular field. And once we are doing it that way, we are learning and we are basically making more informed decisions. So if you want to understand ordinary from an indigenous perspective, then I think this channel and a Lomo channel are the best places for you. So subscribe, give me a thumbs up. And if you want any specification, if you have something that's bothering you, any conversation you want me to have, any topic you want me to treat surrounding ordinary, you can always, leave a description or just leave a comment, and I will basically work on it and make a video enlightening us about ordinary and ordinary practices. And until next time, yeah guys, yeah.